Good day, everybody. Just setting up here. This is Yin Yang on morning number 1774 in California, with morsels of a thought on launch How to Take Your Business to New Heights by Jen du Plessis. She has written a mortgage lending business book. And in her business book, you get myriads of things where you can think of planning for your own social life, even if you don't have to work. So I've noticed that there's a lot in here that we can use. So I will point out what we can use each time that she comes up with something. And we're on page 207. The bottom line is that when you challenge yourself, you can educate and better inform and guide your clients. When an intern, quote, is asked a question such as, "Can you give me an idea of where the rate's going?" An intern will say something like, "Oh, if I knew that, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be lounging on a beach somewhere." When a PhD is asked that same question, the PhD offers a sophisticated answer because the PhD has his or her head wrapped around mortgage backed securities, how they work, and what's happening in the economy. A PhD understands what the federal funds rate is and how it impacts short term rates, not long term rates. Are you an intern or PhD? We can make ourselves into a PhD, even if we are an intern, by taking morsels of a thought of wisdom from other people. It is actually the action of doing the right thing that becomes virtue. So we take wisdom from other people, meaning that we learn the right things to do. They know the right thing to do through their life experiences, and they give us their synopsis of that life experience, which we take with value. We realize that it is wisdom, not just knowledge. Wisdom is, okay, I won't say that, but I will say that wisdom is knowing the right thing to do. And then actually doing it is called virtue. And we'll bring more virtue into this world with morsels of a thought of wisdom. Okay, chapter 7, part 2. Designations demonstrate your expertise. The big idea is separate yourself from the competition by earning a professional designation. Harvey Mackay, M.A.C., capital K-A-Y, says, if you have integrity, nothing else matters. If you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. Got it? Because your results will be so different. When you have integrity, people want to work with you. When you don't have integrity, people will slide you out of their book. You see, you will wind up with no friends if you have no integrity. You got to have integrity. For example, I have some items that I want to use. I bought something new and my friend wants some of it. And what I will do is give her the new one because the old one is what I have used. I won't just give her the old one because she has to use it and she'll feel different. But if I give her the new one, then I mean, that's integrity to me. Your credibility as a professional, says the author, is going to be vitally important as we move into the future. We've had tremendous turmoil in the industry in the past 10 years, and the challenges and competition that face us in the future will keep growing. You will need to elevate your professionalism and be able to demonstrate your expertise in order to compete effectively. You particularly must do everything you can to rise from being a commodity to a preferred product provider. Now, when you are making friends in your social life, you want to become the person people choose over other people. And not because you are a product provider of things, but because you're a product provider of ideas and knowledge and wisdom to them. The author says pressure for demonstrating your expertise is coming from many directions. People these days are extremely conscious about reviewing capabilities and experience online to find someone who can clearly demonstrate they are a legitimate, educated, credentialed, professional mortgage expert. Those expectations are certain to affect how all of us will be evaluated in the future. The cognate of this, the analogy of this, is a person who has never done drugs, never been in trouble, never doesn't gamble, and who has life experiences that include all these things with integrity that haven't affected them badly. Of course, you can't find people that are perfect, so you will have to realize whether they had those experiences in the long driven past or in their current time. I had a friend who was a drug addict, recovered, but recovered for 4 years. I realized later that there was a time that he sounded like he was on a drug that morning, so on the phone. So I started to think, maybe this person isn't all that perfect at all, right? Anyway, you want to be able to strive for integrity, strive for being a person with good virtue. All right. Pressure, says the author, is also coming from within our industry, mortgage lending, specifically to be licensed and recognized as true professionals. If you don't have a professionally recognized acronym after your name and your card simply says you're a loan officer, senior loan officer, or mortgage consultant, I think it's vitally important that you get further education and training and obtain one or more professional designations. People's cards look great when they have professional designations. We are reading from Launch: How to Take Your Business to New Heights by Jen Du Plessis. She had a foreword by Michael J. Mayer, who wrote the seven levels of communication. Sorry, I sometimes forget. And what am I talking about? Oh, morsels of a thought of wisdom. Okay. Now, why the author asks, Jen Du Plessis is asking, why do I think this is so important to your future, getting a designation after your name? First, it shows your commitment to being a professional. It shows that you're willing to dedicate your time, energy, and focus to ensure that you are an expert. It shows you're knowledgeable and that you're at the forefront of knowing what is happening in our industry. You are familiar with the techniques of dealing with retirement and savings and taxes and saving and taxes you know about alternatives and even some of the older options in the market. I can't stress enough how important it is your level of professionalism goes above and beyond the mainstream basics of the industry. I have an example in my life. It was something interesting. It was that if I had a friend who had a check that was written out to her and I went to the teller at the bank, could she cash her check into my account? And the answer eventually I found was yes, but I was put on hold by a youngish person on the phone. I had to wait 20 minutes for her to come back and say, I'm still working on it. So later, I told her something, and she said, well, I wouldn't know that. And she was telling the truth because she was too young to know. The answer, I called again and found somebody else. She wound up being inconclusive. So I called somebody and somebody else answered the phone. And I said, if my friend has a check that's made out to her, can she cash it into my account when we both go to the bank? And guess what? The answer was yes. Ugh, one word, yes. It could have been no, but the other person didn't know. So the other person had not got the level of professionalism that went above and beyond the mainstream basics that she had learned in her industry. Okay, so you want to learn the things that you want to learn. For example, standard driving. It used to be called a standard, a car that was a manual gear shifter. It used to be called a standard. And if you know how to drive, but you don't know how to drive a standard, you could wind up on the roadside trying to help somebody else and not be able to help them because their car was a standard. So it's a good thing to learn skills that would become useful, even just in case. That is Yin Yang's opinion. Okay, so Jen Duplessis says, for those of you who have been in the industry a long time, the author says, you've seen people jump into our industry, make a lot of money, create havoc, and then leave because they couldn't make it over the long term. They've left us with having to pick up the pieces from what they destroyed, quite frankly. We have to regularly discuss and demonstrate how lenders are professional advisors rather than have everyone think of us as just run of the mill service providers. Your commitment to obtaining a professional designation also bolsters your integrity. When you have a designation, it demonstrates that you care. You care about your industry, you care about your image and your brand, not just for yourself, but your industry as a whole. That goes a long way to building trust. People love to work with people they trust. A designation also shows you are ethical. That was the word I was looking for. Ethical. This is how you make a living. This is important to you, and you don't want anything to destroy that. You're cognizant of any fraudulent activities, and you're aware of any peripheral activities by other parties around you. Having strong ethics is very important. The last aspect to your professional designation is that it demonstrates your commitment to your fiduciary responsibility. Fiduciary responsibility. There are professionals out there that are called private fiduciaries. They are people who are the designated payees for people who receive government benefits, or I don't know about designated payee. They can be, but what they do is they have control of your trust account, and they have a fiduciary responsibility to pay out to your debtors, um, debtors because you're getting special needs taken care of through the trusts. So fiduciary responsibility is no small thing. The author says you are responsible for guiding people properly through a complex process. You're supposed to be the expert. The client is a layperson, and you have the responsibility to direct them in the optimum way to meet their goals and needs, not to merely satisfy your income and production goals. Now, that is analogous to becoming somebody's mentor. You have to know the ropes to be able to teach somebody the ropes. And you have to be ethical, and you have to have integrity, and you want, in some cases, in the business world, you'd have the fiduciary responsibility. In the social world, not so much. Industry designations. The author says, I want to talk about some of these designations. The first one, and this is important to me because it is one of the designations that I have and that I've had for a long time, is the Certified Mortgage Planning Specialist, otherwise known as CMPS, Certified Mortgage Planning Specialist. This is a 15-hour self-study course, but you can also take a class to get the certification. The CMPS study covers these principal areas: mortgage and real estate taxation, housing, financial, and mortgage markets, cash flow planning for homeowners and buyers, cash flow planning for real estate investors, and ethics and compliance. The CPF, the CPMS designation places you in unique company. There are fewer than 1,000 of us in the country. Think about this. There are about 600,000 loan officers right now in the country, and about 140,000 or 150,000 are licensed loan officers. whereas the balance of the 600,000 are loan officers who work at banks and are not required to go through the license testing but do have a registered license. With approximately 1,000 certified mortgage planning specialists, you wonder how everyone else is representing their clients. We are reading from Launch How to Take Your Business to New Heights by Jen du Plessis. We're in Morsels of a Thought number 1774. I've been here that many consecutive days because I want to bring more virtue into the world through morsels of a thought of wisdom. Back to CMPS. With this designation, with this designation, you could place yourself head and shoulders above your competition. You'll have a greater understanding of cash flow, tax benefits, wealth building, as well as entrance, maintenance, and exit strategies for a loan that are aligned with financial, estate, and retirement planning. You'll have a greater confidence and expertise to advise clients on the biggest purchase they'll make. The second designation that I'd like to talk about, and one I've recently obtained is the CDLP, Certified Divorce Lending Professional. This is an 8-hour self-study course plus test. The Certified Divorce Lending Professional is someone who knows much more about crucial aspects of such areas as dividing marital property and pairing that with mortgage lending. This knowledge is vital to help one of the divorcing spouses to, for example, continue to remain in their home and not uproot their children. The study for the CDLP is eye-opening. It is a great designation, and the knowledge you get from studying for the CDLP enables you to provide some very valuable advice. Another reason I elected to get both the CDLP and the CMPS designations is that each of them allows me to teach continuing education credits, which establishes me as a subject matter expert in the eyes of the audience I'm teaching. In the case of the CMPS designation, I can provide continuing education credits to new financial advisors up to certified financial planners, CFP. This is extremely important for me because I wanted to have multiple income streams and referral sources. A variety of designations are available through the Institute of Mortgage Lending of the National Association of Professional Mortgage Women. Now, these certifications are not just for women. Men are welcome to take them. In fact, a few years ago, the president of NAPMW was a man. The IML/NAPMW certifications are Institute of Mortgage Lending, Graduate of Mortgage Lending, Master of Mortgage Lending, MML, Certified Mortgage Instructor, CMI, Certified in Mortgage Ethics, CME. That's a very interesting one, the CME, Certified in Mortgage Ethics. You can get well-known designations through the Mortgage Bankers Association. The number one designation offered is the Certified Mortgage Banker, or CMB. That's a very well-respected designation. Your tenure in the business can give you a head start on obtaining that designation. With a long tenure in the business, you can pass through many layers of education and reduce the amount of time you would have to spend in taking the testing and getting that designation. The Certified Mortgage Banker designation is made up of several levels, namely the Residential CMB, Commercial CMB, Executive CMB, and Master CMB. Another designation available through the MBA is the Accredited Mortgage Professional, AMP. The prestige of having a designation or two can get diluted if you have too many. So do some research and find something that works for you, something that really resonates with you. Attaining a designation will make you feel, demonstrate, and know that you have taken the time to continue your education to elevate yourself to a professional level in an increasingly competitive marketplace. Now, Jen's jots on this include some notable designations. So here, Jen's jots that are at the beginning say, obtaining one or more industry designations demonstrates your commitment to professionalism, integrity, ethics, and fiduciary responsibility for your clients. That's a summary of this section. Studying for a designation gives you the knowledge that will help you better serve and advise your clients. Now, notable designations in her jots. Certified Mortgage Planning Specialist, CMPS. See the CMPS Institute at www.cmpsinstitute, all one word, .org. Certified Divorce Lending Professional, CDLP. See the Divorce Lending and Real Estate Association at www.divorcelendingassociation, all one word, .com/CDLP.html. For the following certifications, see the Institute of Mortgage Lending of the National Association of Professional Mortgage Women at www.napmw.org/? Education, capital I, capital M, capital L. Graduate of Mortgage Lending, Master of Mortgage Lending, MML, Certified Mortgage Instructor, CMI, Certified in Mortgage Ethics, CME. For the Certified Mortgage Banker designation, see the Mortgage Bankers Association at www.mba.org. For the Accredited Mortgage Professional, AMP, designed for those in mortgage industry management, see the Mortgage Bankers Association at www.mba.org again. Okay. So we can look at these things. And if we want to, I would say look for NAPO, the National Association of Professional Organizers. If your life is not in the mortgage industry, you can learn how to become a certified what do they call it? Professional organizer for other people. Professional organizers also work for businesses. And the last I knew 20 years ago is that their rates were $250 an hour for corporations. I don't remember what they were for individuals, but there are sites out there where you can learn some special skills and become knowledgeable enough that you become very, very useful to your people that you are mentoring. If you want to become a mentor, if you want a mentor, then you go and look for people like those. You can look for a National Association of Professional Organization or professional organizer. It is not inexpensive, but it is well worth the effort. And it is possible that they can give you some hints over the phone that you never hire them for, but they can give you some hints and tell you, such as one box in 30 minutes, no way. They will give you realistic answers to questions that you may have. So we are bringing more virtue into the world with morsels of a thought of wisdom from other people, because I'm not that wise. So I'm simply bringing you wisdom from what these people say. And I try very hard to bring you useful information, wisdom, hopefully that you know the right things to do and that you're inspired to do them, and have a great day. Okay? Old Kinderhook. Bye bye.